What well-known company has a really shit logo in your opinion? Sherwin-Williams paints. It is the globe being coated in red paint as said paint bucket dumps over it. The text says cover the earth. It's kind of gross to me, considering the harm humanity has done to the planet. It's an older logo made in a time when people weren't so eco-conscious, but it's still used today. Edit. I am thrilled so many others feel the same way. Now that I have read the comments, I hope someone at SWP sees our dismay. Change your logos, you paint jockeys. A bit specific, but two examples that come to mind in the telecom business. Swisscom historic operator. 100 of the population know their name in Switzerland. Some red blue vulva looking ting, one very famous Austrian telco. Yay. The logo was designed by a 15-year intern in the 90s. HTTPSN. Telecom Austria. Guaranteed rate. It's a red arrow pointing down, signaling a bad outcome. The arrow is shaped like an upside-down house. Who would want a mortgage from a company that reminds you of being upside down on a loan? They sponsor the Chicago White Sox, which is at least appropriate given the team's direction in the pastures and their spending on players. The first time I saw a Harley-Davidson shirt where it's just the shield shape without the letters inside, I thought for sure it was a knockoff bootleg shirt from a roadside stand in Mexico. No, it's official, and one of the stupidest design choices I have ever seen. Just their regular logo, but unfinished, dumb. My company's logo is literally a piece of royalty-free clip art with our name under it. When my boss wrote and self-published a book, he made the cover just the aforementioned company logo, enlarged with artifacts and all. It's super cringe, and I did try to warn him this was not a good idea. The latest iteration of the Staples logo is pretty idiotic. Another example of a company with a perfectly fine and recognizable logo, until someone at the company gets bored and decides to do a refresh for no good reason. When Steve Jobs left Apple, he founded the next computer company and paid designer Paul Rand $100,000, $280,000 in today's USD to design this PNG. It's not the worst logo, but for that kind of money, it's not great either. Amazon, for a company with an absolutely obscene market share, it's amazing how forgettable their logo is. It's too subtle and too similar to the already recognizable Nike swoosh. Apparently it's supposed to be a smile or something, just looks like a clip art arrow. What in the actual fuck is the new Patreon logo? 3A to F to FWP content to uploads to F0 to 3 to F10 to Patreon logo. PNG F1 NOF 1 it 80 CD. The 4461. OB0 DB56A 86 to 88 E5B5C83 for C995C9s 88 EC 9C5 087 F13 IPO images. Sherwin-Williams cover the earth in paint. Pretty much any and every jazz festival logo. Capital City Jazz Fest. New Orleans Jazz Fest 2023. Minus on New Orleans comment 139,300 for 1,000. Not gonna lie, need one of these shirts. RTX branding and color scheme is always so bad. I feel like they bought UTC just for the logo, which they have now fucked up by making it bright red. Edit. I actually just checked and now it's black. So we've gone from garish to boring. I'll take it, I guess. CIBC Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. They updated their logo 3 years ago, and it looks like it was designed by 10-year-old who had 5 minutes to hand in his homework. Essentially, it's just CIBC in red lettering in our Oriel-esque font. Kellogg's. It went from America's favorite breakfast to the company that would rather fire workers who had been working minimum wage for give them a raise. Now they say to eat their disgusting cereal for dinner to save money. Current Mountain Dew and PepsiCo. I mean, what was so wrong with the previous updated designs that they needed to abbreviate Mountain and mess with Pepsi's Extreme 2000s logos? I recall never liking the MT and Dew thing on the labels. I'm unreasonably repulsed by the Chevy logo. No personal experience with the brand. I just hate the logo. It's always so big and obvious. I wish it was smaller or painted the same color as the grille or body so it recedes. The pharma company END Sorono scroll down on the page to see it. It makes them look like a band that would have played at Woodstock. Not super well known, but the old logo for the Instituto de Estudos Oriente in Brazil used to be hilarious. Images. QTBN and 9 Gixup Boy B for MLVNJ Aquup DHD to 5 CRAW 5 UPNQWEAS. IMO most of them. I'm so sick and tired of sad, bleak minimalism that most companies strive for now with their corporate logos. It's boring and unoriginal and most importantly not exciting. Spotify. It is slightly askew in a way you might not notice at first. But once you do, you can't not see it. And it's not even at a pleasant-looking angle offset. It just looks like a mistake. Hungry Howie's. 0.550 locations, and the logo looks like it was designed by an amateur. Formerly Twitter. Absolutely dumbest branding decision ever. Let's throw out a globally recognized billion-dollar logo, a name to make the website look like a knockoff sex shop. Every company that used to have a unique logo until they chose to obliterate all personality in favor of the most generic, unedited corporate sans serif font, looking at you. eBay, Regal Cinemas, when they switched from that silver crown at an angle logo to the orange they have now. I thought they lost a bet and had to rebrand with a logo created on Fiverr. I live deep in Walmart country and we've been clowning on the cat buttholes since it came out. But at this point they've pushed it so hard everyone just accepts it without question. Oro Steel. The font they use makes it look on the building like Afro Steel. It looks like they spent a lot of time on it. But also Schiffman's Jewelers. Looks like Shipman. Juventus used to have a strong crest evoking its history and city elements. Now it looks like a cheap minimalistic generic clothes brand. But it's very modern, they said. Sherwin-Williams, the paint company. Their logo is actually horrifying and a case study of terrible logo design. But somehow they've stuck with it for over 100 years. It's not a logo exactly, at an official identifier. The proceedings of the National Academy of Science publication should give some thought to not using their acronym. Tesla. It makes me think a vampire didn't practice good dental care. And now that mouth only has one vampire tooth just looks totally off. It doesn't work. I can't look at the Masters Golf logo and not see a terribly drawn map of the US. All the elitism in the world, and their map is a bloated version of the country. Walmart logo looks like Kurt Vonnegut's depiction of an asshole in Breakfast of Champions. I can never not see this. Additionally, it's very fitting. Andy Boy grocery store letters. Not well known, but honestly, the worst logo ever designed. Every time I see it in the grocery store, I'm just like, why? I don't understand why Pepsi keeps minutely changing their logo every few years. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola has had basically the same logo since like 1893. Planet Fitness. Something about that shade of purple and gold together looks really ugly. That makes sense for a gym that serves pizza on Mondays. Sherwin-Williams paint. It's a paint bucket dumping paint on the earth. And the slogan "Cover the Earth" blows my mind that they still use it. I hate the General Musket. Their logo is also mediocre, but the musket just feels like a default animation character template from 2000. State Farm Insurance. Their 3 red bubble logo always remind me of the old 3 gold ball symbols that traditionally indicated a pawn shop. Almost every NBA team has a basketball or a net in their logo. Can you imagine if every auto company had wheels or a car in their logo? Nike has a standard minimalist logo. Okay, I guess. But just do it. Stupidest slogan ever. Feel like beating your kids? Just do it. I hate the pure blue-black version of the Windows logo. Those colors are iconic to Windows. It was bad enough making it stop waving. British Telecom. Just look at the fall from grace. I'm looking at the Dell logo now. It's recognizable, but I always feel I want to twist the into the proper position. Not a company and not that well known globally either. But lots of American sports teams have really bad logos. Well, it's become well known in the gaming world because of its logo. Star Forge PCS. Yes, it does look like one. Only well known as a bad logo. But I like the old Instituto de Estudos Orientales logo as a good example of bad. Twitter JFC. Why Elon decided to get rid of the very well-known Bluebird and replace it with an XR never. No, I'd say General Motors. They really try to make their new logo look like it belongs on a phone's home screen. The Amazon logo looks like a zipped-up mouth. And considering how they treat their workers, it's really creepy. Not totally shit, but KIA's new logo apparently has caused a surge in people googling what is KN car brand. There is a chain restaurant called Hip Hop Fish and Chicken. The logo looks like a third grader drew it. Lol. It's a sports team, not a company, but the Kentucky Wildcats logo looks like two cartoon birds having sex. Ubisoft quite literally has been men to oblivion for their logo looking like a top-down view of a shit. Every time I see the Amazon Prime logo, I see the underside of a penis. I can't unsee it. It's everywhere. Sherwin-Williams. Paint company splashing paint all over the planet cover the earth. Needs updating. Sherwin-Williams logo is actually terrifying and horrific to think about. The Dallas Cowboys. I know it's iconic. I don't care. It's a fucking star. You guys can do better. My wife had a graphic design professor in college that would constantly shit on the Verizon logo. Paint company Sherwin-Williams logo is just awful. IMO. Fake. Gloopy paint covering the world. Capital One. That big swoosh is very 2000s. It means nothing and looks cheap and amateurish. I've always thought that the Sherwin-Williams Cover the Earth logo was fairly disturbing. Anytime I see the Sherwin-Williams logo, all I see is them covering the earth in blood. Lol. X. This is the dumbest change I've ever seen. Twitter was iconic, and he just ruined it.